everybody, man? It's your guy AD with another edition of The Session. To my left, your right, John MOUG.
I'm finally on the session. This is life goals.
Yes. Thank you
completed.
for your time, sir.
Of course.
Let's shake. Yeah, let's tell you it's gonna be professional. Yes. Although this is
we
far
see each
from
other every
professional.
day. We never shake hands. But
Never.
all right.
That might have been the first time I've ever shaken your hand, actually.
That's weird.
It is kind of weird. Right along, you're like what I would like to call, and what I've heard from you many times, a radio nerd. From an outsider, I feel like that may seem like an insult. This is one of the biggest compliments I feel that you can give a radio person or person in the radio world. You know a lot about radio. You've had a long journey through radio. So I want to talk about you and your radio journey today.
All right, let's do it.
When did you? Take us just briefly through it. When did you first get started in radio, and what was life like after that from there on?
Let's rewind back to the year 2006.
Wow.
I decided, you know what, I was going to stop messing around. Before I got into radio, I always thought that it was something that only certain types of people could do, like celebrities. Or I thought it was outrageous, like being a movie star or the thought of being like an astronaut or something.
Okay.
But it was something that I was really passionate about. So finally one day I said, screw it, you know what, I'm going to try it. And it's worked out for me.
Right. And you got started in high school, essentially.
Yeah, I started a radio station in my high school, and it wasn't like a broadcasting radio station like we're in right now. But it was like a radio program at lunch where I would play music, and it was all my favorites. It was whatever I wanted to hear.
Yes.
Is what everybody got to hear. And but I had a lot of fun with it. And then when I got out of high school, about 2 years later, I said, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to stop looking at this as like some pipe dream that could never be achieved and just go for it. So I jumped in on the street team in 2006 at 98.5 KLUC. And quickly moved into part-time on air, learned how to run the boards, learned how to, make little 10-second commercials and things like that. And before you know it, I was full-time on the radio. And then it's just been a constant, progression since then. I've gotten a chance to do nights like you're doing right now in a couple different cities. I've gotten a chance to do afternoons. I've gotten a chance to do mornings. So I've gotten to experience it all.
What you just hit on, you've done several different day parts in several different cities. How imperative would you say, and maybe it's not necessary, but I also think it is to a certain degree, how imperative would you say it is to travel to different city, different state throughout your radio journey?
You know what, I think it is really important that you don't just stay in one place. And I've made the jump a couple of times, some good situations, some not so good situations.
Happens.
I mean, I'm back here. And as I get ready for my next adventure, I'm really optimistic and excited about it. But I think that you have to experience some different things to learn what you like, to learn what you really want to do in radio. A lot of people go, the on-air route. A lot of people go like the programming route, and they decide musically what's good for a radio station. And so, there's so many different avenues that you can take in radio. And even what you're doing. You do a lot, you're a little bit heavier on like the video side and that part of it.
But it's still part of radio.
Which is very important for where radio is going in the future. Like you can't just be on the radio for 4 hours a day anymore and that be a full-time job. That's just not how it works.
Right. You're not going to get where you want to go, essentially.
No, absolutely not.
So you hit on something that I like. You came into radio on promotions.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure that you already knew you wanted to be on air.
Yeah,
based on your high school experience.
Yeah, it's so funny because I remember my stepdad saying you should start at the bottom, do the thing where they hand out tapes or whatever. And I was like, no, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to set up a tent and hand out cassette tapes, which it wasn't cassette tapes. It wasn't that long ago. It was 2006, but that's what my stepdad suggested. And I said, I don't want to do that. And he was like, you got to start from you don't just jump in and get on the air. And it was absolutely true. And so finally one day I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And honestly, it was 3 months from when I got hired on the street team to when I had my first on-air shift.
Pretty quick.
So it was pretty quick. Now, there was a grind definitely of doing both, being on the street team and being part-time on air and making $7.25 an hour and having 2 roommates. Like that stuff isn't fun, but if you put in the time, you'll definitely get there. So I think I did the street team for probably a year and a half total before I got a full-time job.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I think I bring that up because I think a lot of people get, and this goes for any industry, people get discouraged when they can't immediately jump into exactly what they want to do.
Yeah, immediate gratification is a wonderful thing. However, when you look back and you go, if I hadn't put that year and a half into the street team and I was on to doing something else, if somebody had told me, dude, if you'd have just put a year and a half in, you know how quickly that goes?
Right.
And
Quick.
if you work hard and just stay humble with it, don't come off arrogant, because that, rubs people the wrong way. But if you
Yes.
work hard and are just good to people,
Right.
then you're going to get there.
You're good to go.
You know what I mean? I'm not some magnificent person. I'm just somebody who's passionate about what I do, and that's how I've been able to get the opportunities that I've been afforded.
Consistently. No, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Now, you also are a big production comes easy to you. You're an imaging nerd as well. For those of you who don't know what imaging is in the radio world, matter of fact, I will let you explain what imaging is, because I think you can do better than I can.
Okay, so imaging is all the stuff that you hear on the radio that's not a commercial, it's not a song, and it's not one of us talking. It's usually the big voice guy going like 98.5 KLEC. So what I do is I write things up for the big voice guy to say, and then he reads it and then sends it back, and then I put all the sound effects and the music and all that stuff in there and produce it up and make it sound like it sounds on the radio.
But it's more than just producing a commercial. It's like there's an art to imaging, I feel like. There's a finesse about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of time that goes into it, and there's a lot of balancing. You don't want to make it sound too explosive. Like every single time you play, an imaging element, you don't want it to sound like a movie trailer every single time, because you want things to stand out and be impactful in different ways. But yeah, there is a finesse to it.
I would say so.
And every situation is a little bit different, and it's also a lot of fun. For me, it's like a stress reliever. If I'm doing imaging, I'm literally not thinking of anything else in the world.
It's just right there. Your focus is that's dope. Now, I think that we talk about radio downsizing in jobs so many times, I feel, and just because of all the other sources outside of radio that we can listen to or take to. But I also think that radio still has a vast amount of different jobs, a variety of jobs.
Yeah.
Imaging director, production director, on air, program, music, promotion, sales.
I think that the best thing that you could do if you want to work in radio is look towards the future and look what jobs are going to be needed, and look at what you can do. If you have skills like imaging, if you have skills like video editing, or if you have skills like web content, things like that, they'll really help you. If you're good on social media, that will really help you moving forward. But, really the days of just coming in and spending 4 hours on the radio and then going home are done. That's in the past. So now what else can you do? This is a full-time job. It doesn't always sound that way. Like on the radio, it sounds like we're just kicking it there with our feet up.
It's real easy.
But there is a lot, that goes into it, and you got to put some time in it, and if you want it, you'll get it, and if you don't, you'll find out that you don't want it.
Facts, and you will. Now, went on this from someone that I look up to in the radio world. What would you tell somebody that's coming up, just getting into radio, wants to succeed in radio? What advice would you give them?
I would say learn it all, do it all, and take a chance, because you may go in thinking I want to be the on-air guy, and you find out that you have a love for music or production or something like that, or you go in thinking I know a lot of people who are like, when I got into radio, I wanted to do sports radio, but I realized that doing music radio like this can be a lot more fun in some ways. Which I'm not implying that it's more fun for everybody, but there's something different that everybody can get out of it. So go into it open-minded. Think positively. A lot of people say like, "Oh, I work at the radio station, so I don't listen to radio." Blah blah blah. I get so sick of it. The thing is, if you want to advance, you have to always, you have to be a fan yourself. You have to be obsessed with your craft. You can't just be like, "Oh well, you know what? I listen to radio when I'm at work, so when I'm off work, I'm gonna listen to my iPod." No, you have to really genuinely love it. And I'm not saying force yourself to, but because you can't force yourself to love something, right? And if you're not passionate about it in that way, then you should find the thing that you are passionate about and that does make you that excited that you obsess over. And when you're on the toilet, you're Googling, so that you can learn more about your field. You know what I mean?
I'm listening to other DJs through whatever radio.com app.
While you're on the toilet?
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly.
That time frame in the car, for sure on the toilet though. Seeing other people's Instagram, social media, like what does this person do over here? What bits are they doing? How can I take from that? Or I don't like that, but I can do it this way.
Yeah, exactly.
Different things like that. So I think everything you hit on is perfect. hits the point to a T in a lot
I
of
was
ways.
trying to hit the point to a T.
Hey, I like it. I don't know if that's golf lingo or not, but it works
All right.
for sure. So,
4.
Four.
It's 4.
Thank you
Golf
for your
lingo.
time, Sir Mogington.
Yeah, absolutely.
And where can people follow you at?
John Moug on everything, JOHNMOUG, or at Moug Show. You can hit me on both those things.
You dig?
You dig?
And stop mogging people. Shout out to Carl. Shout out to Carl J.
Shout out to
Friedman.
Carl J. Friedman.
Woo!